Popcorn dust.
Perfect.
That's fun.
Welcome to our 6th episode of Popcorn Dust. And
Popcorn dust.
and today we're going to be, for the first time ever, discussing an animated film.
It's the first time ever?
Ooh. Yeah, because we've done Jurassic, we've done Secret in Their Eyes, Hocus Pocus, The Notebook, Carol. Never done an animation. I'm surprised the first one wasn't Megamind.
I don't know if I could really talk about Megamind for very long, because I think whenever I think about Megamind, I just go, And I just feel all warm inside.
Yeah.
And then it's over. And that's not really a great podcasting experience for me or you or anyone else.
I think if you can just bottle up that and convert it into a podcast, I feel like that would be lovely for listeners. Great bedtime story. Bedtime listening.
Ooh, bedtime listening. And I recount from memory the DreamWorks film Megamind.
Yeah. That'd be next episode.
Next episode, and I'll do it all in my ASMR whisper voice.
Well, would you care to tell us about the film that we will be discussing today?
Oh, yeah.
And also perhaps the context of why we're discussing it. You can choose the order.
Yeah, I think some background context first, I think. I recently was feeling very embittered towards my job. I'm an animator, and the labour conditions for us in this country is not wonderful. You know, like, contracts will just kind of suddenly kick you off and, you know, pay is bad and all this. And, like, my contract ended a few weeks earlier than I thought it was going to, so I'm down a lot of money. I'm going to be unemployed.
And this happens, like, fairly... Like, this is not an unusual thing, and it's almost like you're being punished for being ahead of schedule. It's like the better you are at doing your job, the sooner you finish, the less work you get. It's almost incentivizing animators to work at a slower rate, which is very odd, and obviously doesn't really happen. But I just think it's a very peculiar thing, and there's no protection for animators to have, like, end dates in contracts.
Yeah, this has happened to me before. Only one other time. I think I can't remember how many contracts I've had now. I've been working in the industry for maybe 3 to 4 years kind of time. One other contract ended early. That was 2 weeks early.
Which is half a month's rent.
Which is half a month's rent. Which, as we know, is an extortionate amount of money.
And we're living and working in Dublin.
And we're living, for context, our blood is being removed
at a time.
At an alarming rate. But that one was probably worse, actually, because we started off, it was going to be a year-long contract, and then once I hadn't started yet, but I was already on board, and they were like, oh, actually, it's only going to be 3 months.
Which is a drastic
cut. And I was like, oh, okay.
And this is, like, these are people's lives. Like, that is, people could have moved. If you've been told you have a job for a year, you could have moved and put down rent in a new place. Somebody could have come up from, you know, Cork and rented a place for a year, signed a lease for a year, and then they only have a job for 3 months, and then it gets cut another 2 weeks.
I mean, you say coming up from Cork, like, I know people who have moved from, like, France, Czech Republic, you know, like, all over Europe, basically.
Which is mad because, you know, animation, like, it should be, in theory, I mean, as you know, now during lockdown, you're doing it from home, and it's kind of no different.
Yeah, like, this, of all industries, this one should be the one that, like, you can do from anywhere. Yeah. You shouldn't have to be on site. Like, because, I mean, like, I've worked in studios and remotely before lockdown even, and, like, some days, like, you'd barely have to speak to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely wouldn't have to speak to anyone for work purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you talk to the person who's on the desk with you, or you talk to, you know, whoever,
yeah.
you know, casually, hi, how's your weekend, whatever. Like, it's very, very rare that you'd actually really need to speak to somebody face-to-face about something. And sometimes that even, you know, makes things more obfuscated because people can't remember exact notes that they've been given or whatever.
Yeah, whereas if it comes in an email, then you've got a list.
You've got it written down. Like, I know I get my notes now over Slack and I copy paste them into a note and I keep them and I check them off and everything. Whereas if I'm doing it in studio, I'm frantically writing it down while the director is saying it. I'm going way off base here.
Well, no, I mean, that I suppose it's important to kind of draw context because, I mean, people who aren't in the animation industry don't know. I mean, I'm in the media industry and I wouldn't know apart from you. And it's just interesting the lack of protection for animators. And then also, I suppose you're right, it is a little bit off point, but not really given the climate that we're living in. It's just interesting to sort of note that this is a job that could be done under different circumstances. Like if you're going to be in a situation where you don't have the protection of an end date in your contract and you don't have a union, I mean, it would be handy if you could at least not have the expenses of travel and as well as the expenses, like the time of commuting. So just there's an awful lot about it that I just think is worth talking about, especially just given that people really don't know. So I suppose I want people to keep this in mind as we discuss the film that we're going to talk about today. Who knows under what conditions this film was made?
Oh my god, yeah, no. We're going to be talking about Wolves and Sheep, the 2016 movie from Wizard Animation, which is a Russian feature film.
Which I had never heard of.
You'd never heard of? No, I'd seen it once before, and it's just so much, you know.
Why don't we give a little bit of, because I know we talked a little bit about the animation industry, but so the context of choosing this film, basically now that we're all sort of in lockdown, we have a routine with some of our friends where we take turns coming up with a couple options for films and then we vote on it and we watch it together over Netflix Party. This week was Catherine's week to choose, and so why did you choose this film?
Oh yeah, I chose this because my theme that I was uniting my choices over was animated films that make me very angry.
Just for a quick side note, what were the other ones? What were the other films that we could have ended up discussing this week?
The other ones were Happy Feet and Alpha and Omega.
Oh, Alpha and Omega.
Yeah.
I didn't read the options very well.
That's the wolves with hair one.
Right.
Like, I don't think that one is like it's bad, but it's just kind of a bad movie. It's like the sequels where it really gets fun, but I thought I'd put it down anyway.
Right. That one didn't get any votes. I voted for Happy Feet just because I'm curious, because ever since Catherine and I have been together, and it's 6 years plus now, Catherine has been talking about this film and why it makes her so angry, and I've never seen it, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that there's a penguin who has breasts, and this causes outrage in my animator wife-to-be.
Yeah. You see, the penguin doesn't even have, like, breasts. I think I would almost respect the outward fetishism of just putting a big pair of hooters on a bird, you know? But it's just, like, she's got this sort of contoured body.
Right.
And this, like, cleavage-shaped marking on her chest.
Yeah, as if her skin is, well... Yeah, I suppose cleavage.
Yeah, it's just like, it's reminiscent of boobs, and I'm just like, why? It's just infuriating, like, because that's one thing that, like, I love animation. I want to be clear, like, it's my favorite job. I've never had any other jobs. I love doing it. Like, I love my job. I love cartoons. I love making cartoons. I love watching cartoons. But the fucking girl animals in animated movies make me want to dig my own eyes out.
She means it.
I'm making really hard eye contact with Saoirse right now.
And I'm giggling nervously.
I haven't blinked since I started talking about this.
It's true. I read Catherine's thesis about this 4 to 5 years ago. Catherine did a thesis on, well, it wasn't this exactly, but it was about representation of animals in animated film. And it was very, very interesting. And I believe this kind of, this element came up.
Yeah, it was just about, like, well, it was about carnivores specifically, but I was talking about, like, character design and things on, like, how they communicate.
Yeah.
You know, certain things. If I could go back in time, animal booby movies would, like, super be what I do instead. Because, like, I have so much passion about it.
Maybe for your master.
Maybe for my masters, yeah. Because they're doing an animation masters in IDT now.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, I can't fucking see the point of. Like, if you're just going to graduate from that with, like, saddled with a whole fresh batch of debt and you still earn 20 grand a year or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, no, it does. It seems strange given that, you know, you're going to get your jobs based off of A, your talent, and B, your experience. So, look, you know, whatever. If you want to go for an animation master's, go for it.
I think, like, if you have the time and money to do something like that, like, I think it would be really interesting. Like, I'd love to be able to study animation further, like, academically, and, you know, actually know something about cinematography and things, you know? Because I feel like when you do animation in college, like, you learn so many aspects of it all at once, and, like, you kind of only have, like, a glancing knowledge of every piece, you know? Or miss some pieces entirely. Like, I think we had a 6-week module about screenwriting.
Yes, and I was going to say, you also had that brief while where you did, and it was an elective, where you did comics. Which was so cool, but you're right, it wasn't comprehensive. It was just, here's a taste.
Yeah, and, like, that those electives anyway were just kind of like, yeah, this is just fun time for you. Yeah,
it does seem like a fun time course in general, but maybe that's just to people who are on the outside. I'm sure once you do it, it's
you know what I'll tell you, like, the people from the other courses tend to really want to pick animation as an elective because they'll be like, oh, this will be fun, this will be easy, and then of course they get their spines broken. Because animation is really fucking hard and kind of literally hurt your back a lot of the time.
That's
as well.
That's true. Because Catherine
I'm curled into a knurl.
Yeah, no, Catherine had to take a year off of college because of a neck injury because of being hunched over animating. So that's another thing to take into consideration, animation industry wise. Like, your physical health as well is in jeopardy for this job, which is interesting because it's not like a manual labor job, although, you know, literally you are doing manual work. Well, that's not true actually, because it's computer mostly now. I'm picturing like 2D animation and drawing.
Well, even like if like, because most of the time, like, I'd be on a tablet. Like, I'm only not now because I'm working in Maya, and I find it just wouldn't really work for me to work with a pen there. Like, it's, you know, it would be kind of cumbersome or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not really very physical. I guess, like, you can get like wrist injuries and things, but my wrists are extremely thick. Yeah. I'm not really that worried about getting that. My neck, however, is like a delicate crane, and it's in trouble.
Yeah, and again, another important thing to take into consideration with working from home, you have to make sure your setup is good and it's ergonomic.
Oh god, yeah.
And of course, we're not in the best situation home office wise, because this was just thrust upon us. We're in a 1-bedroom apartment in someone's garden. We don't have an office. We don't have a desk. We have kitchen table.
We have 2 rooms. Yeah.
Well, yes. We have 2 rooms, but 1 bedroom and then 1 kind of common use area. That's got 1 tiny kitchen table, and yeah, it's probably not great for your your physical health, I would imagine.
Actually, I haven't had that much. Like, I had a bit of a pain in my shoulder there a while ago, but that kind of went away by itself. I think I've had like less kind of neck trouble than I have had in work desks before.
Interesting.
Which is a weird one.
That is weird.
I don't know what that is.
I'm glad to hear it though. I don't want you to be injured.
No, like, it might just because like I have control over the height of my computer and everything.
Yes.
Whereas before, like, it just would have been like, this is the stand that we have for the computer. There you go.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can set it to my own comfort and stuff.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you're being very responsible about it.
Thank you.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I feel like we've pretty thoroughly covered the animation industry, which to me which to me was very important. I'm glad we talked about it, just because I just think it's a thing people should know about. And anyway, so yeah, moving on to the film that we are going to be discussing, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, this is a movie, it became sort of like viral famous like a few years ago when it first came out, just based on like this promotional thumbnail that showed like the lead male and female together.
Right.
And it's just this like, you know, blocky headed wolf guy with a little like emo tuft of hair on his head. And then this like Barbie doll looking motherfucker with these big baby doll eyes and a little baby snoot. Like, it's just a freakish woman. It's a woman with hair on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was weird.
Overly sexy cartoon wolf lady.
Yeah. Bianca.
And
the premise of this film with the human woman and the wolf dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like, basically, this wolf is named Gray.
Which
Because
is
he's a wolf.
clever.
Get
And
it?
he's grey.
Get it? Gray is in a pack of wolves who are interested in eating the neighboring sheep village. But Gray is a nice guy, you know, like he runs into a sheep while they're out hunting and he's like, haha, don't worry about it, pal. Get out of here. Get out of here, you little scamp. Which I didn't fucking get.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. So, like, you know, anyway, like, there's this political thing going on in the pack. Like, the alpha's retiring and, you know, they're talking of this obvious evil wolf wants to be the new leader.
The Scar of wolves.
Yeah, he's just Scar. Like, he walks around looking evil and his fur is all spiky, so, you know, he's bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Gray is like, oh, well, it could be me either, you know. Oh my god. He doesn't talk like that at all.
He's played by Tom Felton,
Yeah.
so get that in your
He's
head.
played by Draco Malfoy. Like, doing a weird accent, I think.
I don't know. I didn't pick up on the weird accent, but I'm not very good at accents, as we have discovered.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, at times he sounds like an Australian trying not to sound Australian.
Yeah.
Which is why I was so surprised when his name came up in the credits. I was like,
Yeah,
how did this voice thing happen then? I don't get it.
our jaws dropped when we saw that was Tom Felton.
And I had already seen this movie. I already learned that and then, like, forgot it because it was so...
Like a dream.
So wrong to me. That doesn't... It's not true.
Yeah.
But anyway, where are we in the movie? Oh, yeah. So...
Early.
Yeah, there's this going on and, like, Gray is kind of a goofball or whatever. Like,
He's kind of a jock, dude.
He's kind of a jock. He's like... What's the matter, babe? Like, his wolf girlfriend is, like, upset with him because he's immature. And, like...
And because she thinks he's going to propose, so marriage is a thing in this world.
Marriage is something in the wolf universe.
Yeah, and the classic tale of the girl who thinks he's going to propose and then he doesn't, and then she's annoyed at him and they break up.
Yeah, and, like, she's like, you should change or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, aha, I must do this by magic. So he basically goes off on a sad walk into the woods. He's like, oh no, oh, my GF is angry with me and I don't really know why. And he comes across a racist caricature in the form of a hare who is supposed to be like a Romani woman. And of course, they call her a which is a slur. I probably shouldn't have said it. Bleep it. Consistently, they refer to her like that. And it's like, okay, that's great, guys. This was made in 2016. You probably should have
Taken this on board.
You probably should have figured it out by now that we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But he basically, like, he drinks this stupid potion and he transforms into a sheep. And then, of course, the wolves chase him away and he has to learn to live with the sheeps. And yeah, like, it's sort of a morality tale, I guess, about, like, don't eat sheep if they speak English or Russian, depending on which version you're watching.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, is obviously we were watching a dubbed version because the original would have been in Russian.
Yeah, I think we didn't have the option to watch it in Russian. I would be interested actually to see what the voice acting differences were.
Yeah.
Because the English was very bad.
I would also be interested to see if it was translated accurately. And I suppose also the pacing would be an interesting thing to look at. I don't have a whole lot to say about this film because to me it was just one giant question mark. Like, not like I could talk about it and be like, that was terrible. It's not that. It's just sort of I'm not sure I got it.
Yeah, there was a point at which, like, a background female wolf, who was also, like, absurdly sexy looking, goes, I don't know what's going on. And so she just went, just like, me neither, bro.
She speaks the truth.
Yeah, because this movie has that thing that, like, I think is a hallmark of, like, animation made for very young kids, is that, like, it's cut really quickly.
Right, is that an animation made for young kids thing? I wasn't sure if that was like a Russian film trait. I just felt like this was a very fast moving and my stupid adult brain couldn't keep up with it.
No, like, it's definitely an animation thing because I've noticed it in things before. Like, I was interning before at the place that makes Doc McStuffins, and they had a screening of an episode of Doc McStuffins in the cinema, so like it was on a huge big screen, and like it was cutting so fast and characters are speaking to each other, like there was no breathing room for anything, and like the camera was moving so quick, and I was just like really freaked out because I was like, oh no, like my adult brain just couldn't handle it.
I guess that must be an attention span thing. It's like you gotta cram all the information in before the kid forgets it or something.
I guess, yeah.
I can't think of what other logical reason there would be for that except for just animation takes a long time to make, so let's make it as short as possible.
Yeah. You can waste a lot of time in animation just with characters just like they're making a pose or you know they're thinking about something. I love a good scene where someone is just like going like the show that I'm working on now like couldn't be more different than that kind of style, I suppose, because it's very kind of slow and ponderous and all the characters talk like this so everyone has time to understand what we're saying. You know, like it's there seems to be two different understandings of how kids' brains work. Right. And this one definitely goes on the, I really don't know what that character said because someone else is already talking. And my brain didn't have time to like understand it before I had to listen to something else and try to understand it.
Yeah.
Like there was oh my god, there's one character who like has this thing where like he gets nervous around a girl that he likes and he starts like saying random words like really fast and it's so funny. But it's like this is
like pistachio.
Yeah, and it's like it's just not that dissimilar to how the rest of the dialogue is delivered, so it's like your brain doesn't realize it's a joke before it's already passed and it's like, oh,
there was also
that's probably funny for someone.
I felt like that a lot. I felt like at a few different points I was like, that seemed like it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Parks and Rec. You know what I mean? I do not, but it had the cadence of a joke.
Yeah, like I think the thing about this movie is that like it's a lot of sort of references to other things that are good. Like we were watching
yeah,
we were watching it with our friends Colin and Owen, and like one of the first things that Owen said like when it came on was like, this seagull is like exactly the same as the one from The Rescuers Down Under. Like they just like directly lift him from that movie.
I thought you were gonna say about the Live Long and Prosper.
I was gonna say a couple of things. Like the first thing that I wrote down was Live Long and Prosper because I was like, what? Like it's full of these weird kind of dated references.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like there's a whole bit that is just something that happened in The Lion King.
Is there? Which bit? To be fair, my mind probably wandered at a certain point because I wasn't connecting with it.
Yeah. Do you remember when Mean Wolf threw Old Man Wolf off the rock?
Yeah. Yes, that was absolutely just, that was when Scar threw Mufasa off the cliff.
Wolfasa.
So talk me through your notes because mine are very minimal.
Okay, yeah. My first note is just I wrote down Live Long and Prosper because it just caught me off guard.
Yeah, I know, that was very weird.
Yeah. My second note is the villages of the wolves and the sheep are like really close together. But like the start of the movie is like a sheep encountering Grey the wolf for the first time and being like, oh my Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. We're all gonna die.
Yes, it was weird. They had a whole thing where it was like wolves were like this mythical creature. Like they have a book where they're like, oh, dragons, zombies, wolves.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It was like, did they not know that wolves were a real thing until a certain point? Or I don't know.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna believe you.
Okay.
I probably just wasn't paying attention at that moment because like this movie is a lot to have to process.
It tests
you. Yeah, no, it is very endurance heavy.
Yeah, which is weird for a kids' film. It's like we had to work for this one.
Yeah. This movie it's also very it's very haha. Here's one for the adults kind of humor as well. Because like. There's a bit where, like, the hair woman is just drinking Jägermeister.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She's like, this one is for me. Yeah. Just drinking. It's, there's a couple of things like that, and it's just like, okay.
Would I be interrupting if I said something about my one significant point now, just because we've kind of gone into it?
Oh, nicely? Do it. Yeah, no, I'm just saying random things.
The only thing that to me was of any significance, and after this point I went, I don't care anymore, is okay, the whole premise of it is wolf versus sheep. Wolf gonna eat sheep. And then he goes to visit a hare and she's not scared of him. That was my, like, why that? That just didn't make any sense to me. Is it just that, like, a hare wouldn't naturally be the prey of a wolf? Or is it just that they overlooked that, is it like the wolves only eat the sheep in this universe?
Yeah, that's something. I mean, like, my interpretation of it was just that, oh, she's just sort of too kooky to really be worried about it, you know?
But then he comes across other hares later on, like her family, and were they scared of? Oh no, he was a sheep then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, maybe, but that, to me at that point, I was just like, well, this makes no sense. I won't stand for it.
Yeah, because in real life, like, a wolf would definitely eat, like, a bunny rabbit.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why would they only go for the sheep? Would a rabbit just see a wolf and be like, no big deal?
Yeah. The universe of it doesn't really work. Which, like, you know, like, I don't like to nitpick that kind of thing, but I guess it just kind of... It's not fairy tale-ish enough to make you not think about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it is kind of grounded in a weird way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like in The Lion King, which I know about this because of Catherine's thesis. It's not like in The Lion King where some of the animals talk and some of them don't talk, so therefore it's kind of like, these are the ones that have personalities and these are the ones that are food.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Like, all of the animals, or at least maybe not all of them. No, actually, that's not true because there's a frog in it that doesn't have a voice. But I suppose what I mean is the hare is a personality. I don't know why. The sheep are equally have personalities to the hare and the wolves. They're all equal.
They're all human beings.
Yeah, so I don't understand why, you know, it would be singled out as the sheep are the food in this situation.
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess it's because, like, they're stationary, you know, and, like, wolves are known to attack flocks of sheep and stuff.
Do you think that they put that kind of consideration into this?
I think this movie is fully based on the phrase wolf in sheep's clothing. And they went,
we can do something here.
That'll do.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
On.
No, sorry. This is kind of an uncanny valley thing kind of happening with some of the sheep. And, like, the adult sheep, for the most part, look normal. It's just, like, the children sheep look very weird. Like, there's a little kid sheep that really likes Gray, the wolf. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, mister, you're so cool. Teach me how to flip wolves like you can. And he's so horrible looking.
What do you mean?
He just looks like a little bit too much like a human child.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's like he hasn't grown into his sheep yet.
Yeah, like some of the other, like, sheeps, like, they have, like, big, long sheep snouts or, you know, or sheep features, yeah, but this kid, like, just kind of looks like a human with, like, a weird septum problem.
Yeah. How did you feel about the design of the female sheep? Because we know how you felt about the female wolf.
Yeah, I mean, the female sheep, like, it was less egregious. It wasn't as freaky looking. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as, like, a big of a gap, but, like, a lot of the girl sheep, like, their fleece was made to look like it was, like, a turtleneck dress.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, like, there were no, like, boy sheep that looked like they were wearing a 3-piece suit made of fleece, you know? There were no sort of gender signifiers put on them to say, like, this is a man sheep. They look like a sheep. Yeah. But the girl sheep, like, it wasn't as weird. Like, it was kind of, it's a bit more, you know, on the tame end of the spectrum as weird animated animal gender dimorphism goes. But it was still freaky. Like, it's just the way her thighs were connected by skin.
God, yeah.
Disgusted me.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime a female came on screen, Catherine would be like, oh, God.
Because there was always just something, like, deeply disturbing. Although, like, anytime, like, the girl wolf came on screen, like, I did laugh a lot because it was just very startling to me.
Yeah, I got bored of it pretty quick.
Oh, no, there was a scene, like, midway through the movie where she's, like, wistfully standing by a tree and the wind is blowing her human hair around, and I was just just trying to stifle my laughter while Saoirse just looked at its stony face.
Because, as you can see, I have no notes. I was trying to get something that I could write down. I was trying to concentrate on this kid's film that was very confusing.
Yeah.
Not plot confusing, just confusing as a thing.
No, like, the plot was relatively straightforward. Like, there wasn't... The end of it is a bit confusing.
Was it?
Yeah, like, the wolves attack them, and then the
Well,
wolves stop
yeah.
attacking them, and they're like... I guess we're
Yeah.
chill now. Let's
Yeah.
not confront the implications of this. The end.
Yeah, it was like the wolves were after them, and they sort of basically thwarted the wolves, but by trapping them, and then they kind of realized, oh no, they're gonna drown, so we better actually let them live, we better release them, and there was this whole question of, but if we release them, they're gonna kill us, but anyway, they released them, and the wolves don't attack, apart from that one wolf who has the spiky hair, so you know he's bad. Scar, you recall. And yeah, so anyway, he perishes in some way or another, and then
He spontaneously dies.
Yes. Because the script called for it.
Yeah.
Actually, that was something that I had in my notes. I just wrote, so what? Do they not eat sheep anymore? Question mark, question mark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that, like, obviously it's a kids movie, so, like, you know, I think about this a lot, about, like, anthropomorphic animals in kids movies and, like, what is the implication of them eating each other. Like, that's something that every, you know-it-all jerk on the internet talks about. But, like, this movie, because it's about that, it's kind of frustrating that it never says anything about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to compare it to Beastars, which is a good program about animals living together who want to eat each other but choose not to.
Ooh, again, like Twilight.
Just like Twilight, actually. It is Twilight with furries.
Okay, tell me
Yeah.
about it, because I don't know anything about it. I thought you were going to compare it to The Lion King, which is just an easy comparison in this situation.
Oh,
but-
yeah, not really, because I guess Lion King is kind of not really concerned with the prey, you know. It's all about the struggles of the upper class.
Well, it is, but they also do the whole thing at the start to kind of set the tone for it, which is, it's the circle of life. We, them, they eat this, blah, 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 they go into the ground, blah, 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 blah.
True, yeah, but it's just kind of like it's a scene where they say, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, wolves and sheep, it's what the whole movie is about.
Yeah.
And they don't even give you that much,
Yeah.
you know? They just kind of don't address that as a theme at all. They're just like, they eat sheeps, and that's
Yeah.
bad. I guess they just have to not eat sheeps anymore, and
Yeah.
that's good, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas Beastars, which is an anime, which is very good, I need to rewatch it, because I liked it very much. And eventually there will be a season 2.
Is this on Netflix?
It's on Netflix,
Oh,
yeah. It's a
cool.
Netflix original.
Lovely.
Where, like, it's all, like, they're in high school together.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the predators and prey live together. But, like, the predator animals have to eat, like, synthetic meats and stuff to get their proteins. But, like...
Oh my god, just like Twilight.
Just like Twilight. It is just like Twilight. And the wolf falls in love with a bunny rabbit
Aww.
who he desperately wants to eat.
What does this remind me of? Oh, Twilight.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like if Twilight was furries. And, like, I don't know how it ends. It's not over yet. Like, the manga is still going, so maybe it ends just as badly as Twilight does.
Possibly.
Which was horrible.
Ah, that's a different podcast. In fact, we should do that as a different podcast because there's so much to debate about Twilight.
Twilight
But
retrospective.
I
Oh,
would-
that would be fun.
that would be fun. We should do that.
We should do that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm into
Yeah.
that. And now we're an engaged couple, so it's like we can do that as like a we are now engaged and in a romantic-y type of mindset. So we watched all the Twilight films. And then we'll act
Yeah.
like it's an announcement that we got engaged.
We are announcing our engagement via a watch marathon of the Twilight movies.
We are announcing our engagement. That happened in December.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good. That'll be a good premise for a different podcast. We'll have to keep that in mind, and we should also reference Lindsay Ellis's video on it at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, yes. Okay,
Oh yeah,
so
no, I
Beastar
just brought up Beastars because that's something with like similar themes, but that actually
did it well.
like talks about it, like actually like makes it a core part of the story. Like it's a bit more grown up, so I guess like you wouldn't. I'm not saying that they should have done what Beastars does, because they shouldn't have. That would have made it a very inappropriate film. But yeah, no, it just kind of bores me when they just kind of touch on something that raises such interesting questions, and then they're just like, we're not, no.
Especially because it's a kid's film. I'd love to see them like take the chance to sort of educate in some way, but it would be good to have some sort of message of some description, or even raise a question that kids can talk to their parents about or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's kind of the problem that like I think kids media runs into with like animal allegories and things, or like animal based fairy tales or whatever, is because like in real life, like animals don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
They do eat each other.
And that's
but we
fine.
also eat animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't really understand.
Yeah, that was specifically what your thesis was about. It was about like the sort of villainization of the animals eating other animals in animated film, which is just interesting given that we too eat animals. It's like we're at the top of that food chain.
Yeah, it's like why is that? Like I know that it's because like the sheep are humans, you know, the sheep are human beings, the wolves are human beings, you know, like neither of them are really animals in the way that the story works, you know, they can speak to each other and they can, you know,
they're humans in animal suits.
They're humans in animal suits. They're theriomorphs, as Paul Wells would call them.
Paul.
Good old Paul. But with kids like stories that have animals in them, it's like you end up making a moral judgment on an animal for eating another animal when it's like that's not wrong. Like that's just how the world works. Like it's very naive or something, which is stupid to say about a kids movie. I know. Like I keep criticizing myself for making these comments, but like as a kid, like I would watch movies where like, you know, ooh, it's bad that this animal is trying to eat this other animal. But then I watch like a nature documentary where animals are eating each other and it's just like, and this is happening now. Yeah. Enjoy. You know,
and
like
another one of the things that you mentioned in your thesis was wasn't there an island or a park or something like that where they specifically only they created some sort of ecosystem where there was no prey and predator. It was just a bunch of animals that didn't have their natural predators anywhere, and it fell to ruin because that's just not how nature works.
Like, I think this was maybe it was in like the 19th century. It was a while ago anyway. I think it was in Yellowstone. They were culling predators because like they were just like, oh, you. We don't want them here. But like when you remove like natural predators like deer, for example, like their populations like explode and they end up like starving to death.
Which is a
horribly.
much worse death.
Yeah, like I mean death and killing, and they're good, you know, like it's hard to absorb, but it is good. Like, and I guess like I just personally don't like shielding children from that reality to just like.
It is an odd thing to try to impose on a child, I suppose. That it, like a child could walk away from this film being like, okay, well, I don't like cats anymore because they eat mice. You know, wolves are bad as a creature, and when I go to the zoo, I'm gonna spit at them.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, I don't know how much it really like transplants onto how people feel about real animals. Like, I think it depends on how much the animal is relatable in and of itself, like a mammal or something. Like a tiger, you know, he eats animals and ooh, that's scary and we don't like that, but he's also very cute. So like people want to protect them, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas you have like a predatory animal like a shark, which people are much less pleased about conserving, which is just as in need of it, but like because it doesn't have that thing to back it up, that sort of cute kitty face. Yeah. You know, like its predatory nature is something to be scorned, you know?
Yeah.
And I just don't get it, you know?
Yeah, and I know I've mentioned it a good few times now, but again, I just think I like that about The Lion King, because it's the only film I can name where they actually discuss the circle of life, that it's natural for animals to eat one another.
I do like that. And in the second one as well, like, they show Kiara, like, actively trying to kill stuff.
Yeah.
which like didn't strike me as odd as a kid, because I didn't have, like, my brain ruined
Yeah.
by overly, sanitized kids cartoons.
Yeah. I just realized how perfect this podcast is for you, because this is like these are Catherine's two areas of expertise. It's animation and animals.
I know, like, all I do is think about animals.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we get to showcase your skills and interests in this one.
Thank you.
Got anything else for us in your notes there?
Oh yeah, let's actually talk about the movie a little bit more.
Okay. Good idea.
Yeah. My next note is Girl Wolf, help. I think, like, I wrote that at a time when, like, I was just freaking out about the Girl Wolf. Cause I oh my god, I think there were multiple girl wolves on screen at one point, and I was just losing my mind.
Yeah.
Like, they do just look like, if any listeners know who Crystal the Wolf is from Star Fox, she looks like that.
And if you don't know, Google it, like I'm going to after this.
Yeah. I'm specifically thinking of, like, fan art of Crystal the Fox where she's, like, sexy. So maybe she doesn't actually look like that in the games.
Maybe they'll be looking at it going, she doesn't look sexy at all. It's weird what Catherine's into. I wonder what Saoirse looks like.
You just look like an anime fox.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. If only. But yeah, no, she has that kind of, like, sexified furry thing going on. And it's just weird. Like, it just feels weird. Like, I just don't know what... Because, as well, let me go off about animation again.
Go on.
As a medium, why it's disgusting and needs to be burned to the floor. Not the ground, just the floor. Okay. Won't go that far.
Yeah. No, this is your area of work here.
Yeah. I need to be able to come in tomorrow and work. At least the floor must be left.
Yes.
But I'm going to speak about a project that I was not involved in, but I was privy to information about. I'm not going to say what it was or where it was.
Ooh, this is like... Oh, I feel exclusive.
Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically I was looking through the notes from executives on this design of a bunny rabbit.
I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I don't, because she didn't tell me anything. Never mind, let's go.
You know it in these vague... And I can tell you anything. Like, we can't testify against each other in a court of law.
That's true. We just got to get married the day before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Or on the stand, Ted Bundy style.
What? Oh my god, that did happen.
Yeah.
That's another thing we watched. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, let's not get on a Ted Bundy.
I feel like
tangent.
it would clash a bit, just talking about, this film and then Ted Bundy. I just don't think it would work.
No, that's true. Very totally different.
Yes.
Say what you want about this movie, about Sheep and Wolves. There was no sex murder.
Yeah.
As the tabloids would call it.
Yeah. Okay, go
on. What was I talking about?
Tell
Ted
us.
Bundy.
No, you were talking about the design of a mysterious figure.
Okay, so I was looking through the executive notes that were given back on the design for a female rabbit. Like, this was kind of a semi-realistic rabbit. Like, it wasn't like a photorealistic rabbit or anything, but, like, it was on all fours. Mm-hmm. It looked like a bunny rabbit. And the notes came back, and, like, I'll say that the male rabbits, like, just look like rabbits. Mm-hmm. You know the story. It looks like a rabbit. Picture a rabbit. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And the notes on this female design came back with make her sexier.
Again, these are things you need to know about the animation industry.
Yeah. This is make her sexier. And I remember, like, I just kept up with the notes on this project, because I was like, what is going on here? And they kept giving her sort of the swayed back, like this sort of round, plump butt. And I was like,
they gave her the Nicki Minaj.
They get a little bit, yeah. Mm. Like, 'cause the way, like, a rabbit's back, if you can, do a Google image search of a rabbit or whatever, just in a normal sitting position, it's got, like, sort of an arched, convex back. as you would if you're a, quadrupedal creature standing on all fours sitting down. But the girl rabbit was concave, she was pushing her chest forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a bunny rabbit in a television program for children.
That was actually my next question, is like, was this like who was this aimed at?
This was aimed at childs.
Aimed at the childs.
It's just like, well, you see, the thing is, I'm like, fair enough, if the program you're making needs you to make the audience want to have sex with a rabbit, then sure thing, make her as voluptuous as you want. But it's just that's not, it's just because it's a girl rabbit, they're like, well, I guess I want to it. How am I supposed to this rabbit?
It's very weird, because this is an industry where all of that could so easily be escaped. Like, it's a much harder battle to fight with live action, those sort of standards and ideals and like beauty standards.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, because you're working with like, whoever is the most popular actor at the time, or you're selecting, but you're selecting from a group of people who already exist, you know? Whereas animation, everything is built from the ground up and everything is a choice.
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes you're looking at things and you're like, that was a choice.
Yeah.
They made that rabbit sexy, quote unquote, sexy.
And it's very odd, because they could make the choice to not. I know that's a very simple way of saying this, but it's just like, that needs to be stated, that it doesn't have to be this way. It's very peculiar. Like, what happens in someone's mind that you do that you decide that's what you want your rabbit to be? I want a sexy rabbit for this.
I think the problem is that it's not a choice, like people, that's just kind of how things are. It's like, see, this is kind of the crux of the whole issue that I have with this movie altogether, is that girl wolf. Like, it's just such a bald-faced example of something that is everywhere, all over animation and games as well, because that's animation too. any time they have to choose what a female of any species looks like, that happens. And it's like, I feel like animation with like female characters is almost like where live action was in like the 1960s. It's like,
it's weird. I would say that's not actually, that isn't the case with all, like, I feel like animation is coming an awful long way. Like, we've watched some really good shows in the last few years that have done, now we're not talking about animals anymore, but we've watched shows where they've had much broader like examples of, say, like female bodies and body type and that kind of thing, and it's not this crazy like Bratz doll and realistic sort of thing. Like, we have watched Steven Universe, which showcases 3 very different, I mean, well, they're not technically female, but the pronouns are female, but 3 different examples of sort of what or not stereotypical, what a real female body might look like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like TV animation is kind of streets ahead of feature animation in a lot of ways, because I feel like there's more money involved in feature, and I think like there's more caginess with the executives and everything. They kind of want to do things in ways that are more tried and true, if you get me. So like in TV animation, we've had a lot of like female creators and stuff.
That's true.
Which like, Jesus Christ, thank God.
Yeah, it's really done wonders. The next one on my list was She-Ra.
That's me drinking from the well.
I'm glad you said that, because I was like, what are they going to think that sounded?
You choking me to death.
Yeah.
Because you're sick of me.
Yeah.
Sweating about cartoons.
Yeah. That, like, we have watched a few good ones, and I know that there are a couple that are reportedly good that we haven't gotten around to watching yet. But I feel like, you're right. TV animation seems to have come on quite a bit.
And even about like gay stuff.
Yeah.
Like, while we're talking about an aggressively heterosexual movie.
Yes.
Like TV animation, the gays just have that now.
Yeah.
What
was the thing? Tell the story about your grandmother that your grandmother once said to you.
What was it?
Oh,
she said something about the gays stealing jobs from people.
No, it was about taking over the media.
Oh my God, yeah. No, my grandmother, it's weird because like she used to work with theatre So she was kind of involved in the theatre scene a little bit, and she did kind of like get gay friends and things at a very early stage in her life. But then like her parents like didn't approve, so like, you know, she didn't do that anymore. And then later in life, of course, became homophobic.
Naturally, that's the progression.
Yeah, and she was like watching something one time, and you know, I was with her or whatever, and she was like, there was a gay actor on screen or whatever, and she like, you know, the gays, like, they're taking all the jobs on TV, aren't they? Like, there won't be any for anyone else.
And the funny thing is, both Catherine and I, being media people, like, when you were in animation school, what percentage of people were gay?
Oh, I think, like, the student handbook said 10%, but, like, in our class, it was 30.
30? I thought it was even more than that. In mine,
No.
I think it was, like, I mean, it was nearly, I'd say 80% of the girls. It was weird. It was specifically a female thing. My course was different. It wasn't animation. It was oh my god, what did I study? It was
Creative digital media.
Creative digital media, which incidentally I now teach. But anyway, yeah, in my class it was like the girls were 80% LGBT in of some description. Like, it was I think there was a lot of bisexuals, myself included. And then we had a few gay women as well, lesbians. I don't know why I needed to qualify that.
Gay women.
Yeah, no, we didn't have as many gay men, but it's curious. Your grandmother was onto something.
I know, yeah, I think she was just right. Maybe she wasn't homophobic at all. She was just like being
A
accurate.
prophet.
Yeah, she was just like, ooh, they're taking all the jobs. Yeah, it's because normally that's what you say about like immigrants or something, isn't it? If you're to be prejudice minded. Maybe she also said that, and I don't remember. But
P.S. I meant to say psychic, not prophet. But I couldn't let that go. Sometimes I listen back to these podcasts when I'm editing them, and I'm like, oh, you said the wrong word. No one's gonna understand that.
Oh, people understand sheep and wolves. I think.
To summarize, sheep and wolves. Is there anything else that you have on your list that you want to cover before we wrap up?
I mean, probably, like, a lot happened.
Yeah.
There was a human skeleton.
Oh, that was funny as well. Yeah, that was in the hare's lair.
In the hare's little caravan thing. Yeah, no, a human skeleton that was about the size of a rabbit fell out, which is terrifying in its implications.
That's actually a very good point. I knew it was a human skeleton, but I didn't even think about the scale of it.
Well, it was scaled as an adult.
Yeah.
Proportionally, but just like rabbit
I know.
size.
So it would have been like, well, it wasn't a rabbit, it was a hare, so that's a little bit bigger, but like that would have been like a toddler.
Freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, there was a character who, you know the way in movies, like kids movies, they love to make fun of fat people.
Yeah, I have something to say about this after you say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, like this movie has a character who's a fat guy, and he exists just to be in the background, doing fat people things. So he's like eating a big thing of donuts, or like he's crying when there's no food left in his fridge.
When these were happening, Catherine just leaned over to me and went, "'Cause he's fat, get it?" Like real angry.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I didn't get it. I did not read it that way at all, because this guy isn't like, I just didn't make anything of his size. Like, he wasn't particularly big to my mind. And
See, that's because we've been watching like cartoons and stuff, like where people can be fat and it not be a thing, you know, where some people just look like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I was reading it. I've been so immersed in good content that
you're in a bubble. You don't realize
weird.
that something is a big pile of garbage.
Yeah. Which is so it's interesting. I didn't notice that they were making this guy a fat guy or the fat guy in order to be a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was a punchline in the whole thing. And yet, meanwhile, with the female thing, it's like, their bodies are interesting. Why did they choose to do it like that?
That's just fucking avoidable.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's just so shocking to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird though, because like I thought you were being a bit harsh on it when you kept going, it's because he's fat, get it? And then later on they actually made some reference to him being fat or something to do with food, and I was like, oh my god, she was onto it.
Yeah, well, I guess like that's another thing like about this movie is that it is just kind of a patchwork of cliches from different things all put together. Like, that is kind of like, it's not so much a thing anymore. Like, it's kind of taught as being passe now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, oh, someone's fat, like that's just what some people look like.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really a thing.
Yeah, and the correlation between size and like food, like it's just, I suppose it's just not something, like that's a very old joke.
It is, yeah, no, that's kind of my problem with, well, one of my problems with this movie is that like it just doesn't, it's so stale.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh yeah, no, you see jokes in other things where a fat guy is eating a lot of food. You know, Jurassic Park, remember the fat guy at the computer?
Yeah.
And he has all his chicken wings or whatever there's everywhere.
You know what? Once again, I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
I did not observe that I just went, oh, he has a messy desk. See, I have a very naive way of looking at things. I do not make those connections at all. I just assume that nothing is mean-spirited.
That's very nice. I mean, I remember one time, let's have an example of how just Saoirse walks through a world that is so beautiful. Me and Saoirse, we were walking away from the metro. There was a guy in a car and he like yelled something out at us, and you stopped and turned back and said, "What?" I was like, "Saoirse, for the love of God, keep moving." Like, he didn't say anything because he clearly like called us dykes or something.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that at all. Obviously, it didn't stick out in my memory.
No, like, I don't think you really understood what was happening at all.
I just don't. It is very peculiar that, you know, anyone who listens to our Hocus Pocus podcast will know exactly what kind of person I am. Oh, hey, a plug for the Hocus Pocus podcast.
Yeah, give us clicks. Eventually, we will have 1 cent of ad revenue on youtube.com.
Yeah, we can put it towards our funerals, because that's when it will be.
I'm having a free funeral.
Yeah, we're just
funeral.
Dump her in the ground.
Put me in the bin. It's what the bin smells like anyway. The worms will get me. Oh, sorry. What were we talking about? Fat guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's offensive. Is what I feel about it. I mean, like, I'm not like those kind of things. Like, I'm not even offended by it. Like, I don't feel hurt or attacked by it. I'm just kind of like, this bores me.
Yeah.
I'm bored by this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not funny that someone's fat. It's just like a fact.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's a fat sheep.
And
That's really cute because he's a sheep and now he's
sheep are meant to be
round.
fat.
He's fluffy.
Yeah. That is another thing as well, that like the body types with animal, it's very peculiar that they would be like, a fat sheep is a bad thing.
Yeah, because
like,
sheep are like super red. Do you ever see like sheep when they're like freshly shorn and they have those big hanging bellies?
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. You know what? A goat as well. You see goats sometimes and they have like these really bony hips.
Yeah.
Just like fattest stomachs you've ever seen. I love that.
Yeah, fat animals are kind of the cute ones.
Yeah, like,
And like
I mean,
with dogs, people freak out when it's a whippet or a greyhound.
oh my god, people hate when they see a skinny dog, and I love little skinny doggies.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, they have to wear a little coat in winter. No! Oh my god, last time it came into dogs and coats season, I saw like a whippet in a coat, and I came really close to tears. Because I was just so overwhelmed by how cute it was. Like, that's how fucking bad those dogs get me.
Wow.
But people think they're really ugly.
Yeah, people think they're ugly and that pugs are cute.
Pugs are horrible looking. I will never listen. I don't like to body shame. I know I've been going off on Sheep and Wolves for its treatment of fat sheep #1. Mm-hmm. But pugs look terrible. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Don't make them look like that.
Yes. But my point is that people think pugs are cute and they're little fat things.
They're fat
but
little
people don't like
roly-polies,
skinny dogs. It's very... So, like, in real life, the body standards for animals are the exact opposite to what they are for humans, and yet in animation we're like, they should look more like humans.
Yeah, it's weird. Animation is broken.
Yeah. I mean, media in general just might be broken. It's a weird way that filmmakers choose to represent reality. Like, we talk about this all the time, like, that filmmakers don't actually understand what real life is like.
Yeah.
It's like they're aliens who have, like, read a book on it and they're recreating the book. It's like...
Yeah, it's like, it's a copy of a copy of a copy, you know? Like,
Yeah.
someone had an experience in real life that they translated into a film, and then that film was copied by someone else making a film, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Chinese whispers.
Yeah, like the examples that like come to mind immediately are when we talked about the bullet being removed from the dinosaur in Jurassic Park. It's like that...
Jurassic World, let's be fair.
Sorry, Jurassic World. And it was just like, filmmakers are not doctors. They don't understand that taking the bullet out doesn't cure the dinosaur in any way, shape, or form. The hole is still there.
Yeah, like there are because it's fairly common knowledge, right, that like there are people walking around in the world that have bullets inside them.
Yeah.
You know, because they've been shot and it just wasn't safe to remove the bullet, so they're like, okay, well, we'll just leave it there. You know, like
It's just part of you now.
It's not causing you any pain. It's not causing you any danger. It would almost kill you if we took it out, so we'll just leave it there. You know, like a bullet. How do they think a bullet kills you?
I don't know. It's weird that this is how.
It's weird that it's become a trope. Like, I mean...
Yeah, what was the first thing that was
What is the progenitor of the bullet? Yeah, no, one of the notes that I have on this is more about the story structure of the movie. Because Sheep and Wolves, I feel like, could have done with a few more drafts. Or, like, maybe it had too many drafts.
Right, maybe.
I feel like maybe they could have gone back a few versions. Because, like... The character of Gray, right, like he's kind of this like goofball jock kind of guy, and you know Bianca breaks up with him because he's an idiot and she doesn't like that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But then because he transforms into a sheep, that's the whole plot of the movie, and he ends up living with the sheep. But then the sheep sort of confront him. They're like, how come you know so much about the wolves? Mm-hmm. Where did you come from? Like, what's going on here? Like... And he goes off on one.
Yeah.
Like, at basically verbally attacking everyone about things he hates about them.
Yeah, he's like, rather than admit that he's a wolf, he's like, well, here's what's wrong with you.
Yeah. But he of course points to the fat guy and goes, you're fat. You fat.
At which point, Saoirse realized that was in fact the joke they were trying to make all the way along.
Yeah, and he's like his best friend sheep that has been with him the whole time. He's like, you're a coward.
Yeah, you can't talk to girls.
You're a spineless cook, baby.
Yeah. It was weird. It felt like very unprompted. It was like two scenes spliced together in the middle. It's like, what happened after they start accusing him of knowing things about wolves? And then why is he mad at them? Like, they just didn't go together.
Yeah, I mean, it felt to me like that was like a way that a different character would react. So, like, if they had set up his character like, you know, he's aggressive and, you know, he's
explosive.
He's explosive, like, and that's the lesson that he has to learn by living with the sheep, as he learns to, you know...
You have to learn to control your temper.
Yeah, and he learns to be peaceable and... violence is bad and all this kind of thing, but like he already is a pacifist and not a sheep eater at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
I really don't know. He doesn't have like an arc to speak of. Like he just kind of starts the movie as like, you know, allegedly like a goofy guy because everyone says that he is.
Yeah.
And he ends the movie, you know. How is he at the end of the movie? Like, he's there.
He's in charge of everybody. He's the one. He takes over the elder's role of Chief Wolf.
Yeah, he's the alpha now.
Yeah, alpha. That's the term.
Yeah, but like that's just like nothing about him really changes.
His circumstances change.
No, like he didn't learn anything from being a sheep at all.
Not really, because it's not even like, oh, he desperately wanted to be, you know, one of the wolves, and now he's cool with not having their approval or anything. It's nothing like that. Like, really, there just isn't anything. Like, you're looking for substance where there just isn't any, unfortunately.
I know, yeah, no, that's there was kind of a thesis statement in the movie as well, where like Gray is kind of rallying the sheep, like they're scared and they don't want to have to fight the wolves or whatever. And he goes like, you know, our strength is in our unity, and that's what we have over them. And I'm like, in what sense are the pack of wolves not a unit?
Yeah.
Like, they have always been presented as like they're a group together, they're doing
Yeah.
everything together, they're moving as
Famously,
one.
a pack of wolves.
Yeah, and like there's that's not a theme at all.
What's even a group of sheep called?
A flock.
A flock. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would know that less than I would know a pack of wolves. Like, it is more commonly known that they are unified.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like it would make sense like if in the movie, like, you know, they have their little turncoat wolf or whatever, but like by and large they're all in it together, you know, like they're a community.
Yeah.
And they are working together. Like, that's not what the movie is about, but like he just says that like that's what the movie was about the whole time, and it's like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't about anything.
That's a good summary, I think. This film wasn't really about anything. Like, sure, there was a plot and all, but what was the sort of... What have we walked away with? Very little.
Very little. I mean, like, Titty Wolf is something.
Is something. I feel like that's it. It's just, this is a film. The end.
I mean, it's there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it in and of itself is not particularly exceptional in any way. I feel, actually, I should say something positive. Like, I think, like, the visuals and everything of it, like, it was a lot of effort and a lot of polish put on it. Like, I don't like the character designs personally, as I have stated. I don't like them at all. But I think, like, you know, like, the lighting looks nice. The backgrounds, like, clearly a lot of effort went into them.
Yeah.
Like...
Actually, you know what? You're right. That was one of the first things I thought. I liked the look of it, and then that got drowned out by just everything else that I didn't quite understand. But you're right. It is. You know what? It's good to end on a positive.
Yeah.
It was a film that looked like it could be a good screensaver on your desktop.
Oh my god! I'm gonna put the Titty Wolf as the background. Sorry, I shouldn't say Titty Wolf. I'm gonna
Too
put
late.
Bianca as the background of my computer. I will remove the beautiful piece of art that I currently have there. Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, get out of here.
Okay, well, I mean, to me, that's about as much as I can bear to talk about this film. How about you? Anything else that you want to bring up before we move on to our goodbyes?
No, not really, I guess. Like, I think... Oh my god, don't let executives to choose anything.
Yeah.
Say no. Just say no. Just say no. It's fine. Just say no.
Just say yes and then do it your own way. They probably won't notice.
Oh my god, good idea. Just tell them it was their idea.
Yes, exactly. And then they'll go, brilliant.
Oh, genius. I knew I was right about that.
Oh, cut to, 30 years in the future when you and I are both executives in the media and we are the worst of them all.
Oh my god.
I
would not say no.
Did they all start off this way? Did they all start off like, oh, the industry is flawed, and then they put on a suit and they became the way they are?
Well, you see, I only ever know animation execs as mysterious people in America who I've never seen, and they don't come from like creative backgrounds. They tend to be from somebody's nephew kind of backgrounds, if you get what I'm saying.
I don't, but it had the cadence of a joke. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening. This has been a fun one. I've enjoyed it. And yeah, maybe next time you'll catch us for our Twilight podcast.
Twilight Marathon.
Yeah.
Twilight Marathon.
But then again, the last time that we teased the next podcast, we were like, oh, the next one will be the Meg. That never happened. But look.
The Meg sucked.
This is a 2-for-1.
This is a double feature. The Meg was terrible.
I liked it. But anyway.
Then you know you don't have to watch it.
What? The shark was bad?
Shark doesn't need to be bad. It was just boring.
Disagree. Anyway, catch us for Twilight in another 6 months.
2021.